Hi, everybody. We have a special guest here today from Spain, from Madrid, professor of Madrid Conservatory, pianist Victoria Lopez. Hi, Victoria.
Hello, Helen. How are you? Hi, everyone.
I'm fine. How are you? Victoria, do you recognize this picture?
Perfectly well. Perfectly well.
Tell
What,
me
15 years ago?
about that
Almost.
time. How is that
Almost.
all?
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah, I do. I flew to Houston and you invited me to your house, remember?
Yes, I
Compositor.
remember. We are
Yeah,
sitting in front of my piano.
that's right.
Victoria, how did you find me and program Soft Mozart? In Spain. In
In
Spain. You
Spain.
found me
That's
in Spain.
it was the Internet Explorer time, and I remember I had finished my studies in Austin University, and I was lucky enough to be trained into computer music and the importance of computers in education. And so I started searching how do I, there has to be something new to help children how to read music with a computer. And I saw your vertical stuff and I thought this is different and interesting. So I left my child with his father and decided that I had to fly 3 days to Houston. So
Victoria,
I
it's
called
very
you and
interesting.
showed them.
A lot of people freak out. When they see this vertical stuff, they freaked out. They think it's something confusing for children. What do you
Uh,
think?
I think that it's not only confusing for children; it's just the obvious way to learn to teach children the system, the grand stuff related to the piano. Because if you follow the lines of the stuff, you dive into the piano keys. And since the piano is the king of instruments, if you want to make the children understand and make the relationship in their minds of the sound and the symbols and the staffs, then I found it absolutely obvious. If you go to the right on the piano, you go to the right on the score, and if you go to the left, you go to the left. So you can teach a child when the child is 3 years old with this method. You of course you can't with the traditional method where they need to count from the C up, and there are so many relationships that traditional training put in the mind of a child that I can't really understand how I made it myself. I mean, how did I put one step on above the other and understood that although from C to E, the E appears on the right on the score, I have to go up. But if it's C to D to just a second above, I need to go up. But if it's C to B, I have to go down. How can you put that in the child of a mind, in the mind of a child? He says, no, this is to the right, then ask me to go to the right. Don't make me do silly movements. So I thought this is a real invention, and since then I am into some Mozart.
And it seems to me like you are a very dedicated woman because you saw it, you liked it, and you got the ticket, you jumped in the uh, plane, and you are here in Houston
Yeah,
learning about it. It
yeah.
was fascinating to me and very unusual because not many conservatory professors just even willing to know about this. And you made all these steps because you understood perfectly well how it works and made such a big step to come here.
Uh, well, I was lucky. I was lucky at that time to be able to do that, and I just did it. But it seems to me that we classical music teachers and especially piano teachers need to all of us need to open our minds and really get into the minds not of nowadays children that all need an ipad and want to press something with the fingers. It's just the fact that thanks to computer um, tools that are basic for the uh, education of a professional musician can be taught much easier with the aid of a computer. So you can't say no. And you can't say, yes, but you need a Steinway piano to teach a child about the quality of sound when he's trying to know where the C is on the piano. I mean, I think we need to go above all those kind of ancient discussions and tell teachers now it's your obligation to use what you have, make the best use, and to discover if it's good or not for your students. My conclusion is that there is no other method right now that can take a child from his 3, and not because you want to create piano prodigies. It's just because you want to create a great public for concerts and a great, a different society for music. You want them to train their ears. You want them to be able to read music as they can read a book, and you want them to be a part of an audience when there are concerts, and to be critics. And that's what I think we have to offer.
Do you think if child from 2 and 3 starts learning how to sight read music, they develop better memory, attention span? What is your
They,
experience about this?
I think that the best way to teach a child to develop a concentration is teaching them piano with some Mozart.
That's right. This
No,
is my
believe
thoughts
me,
too.
believe me. I know you believe me, but I'm talking to other people. I mean, I'm trying many times. I try to picture a child in a similar situation. Take a child, sit him in front of something, make him first attract his attention, right? And
Right.
you can't put him the story of a Russian writer, right? But uh, catch his attention, and the child is looking, and you say, now be careful because the bad spider is going to come. Oh, but look, it's not a bad spider. The spider is smiling. So let's be generous. So once in a while, when the donut, because in Spanish it's the donut, remember, when the donut is coming down, let the spider just take one of them. So you can ask the child.
He has
For
big
you this
family
time,
to feed.
so
Yes.
you are allowing the child to make mistakes. Give him the
Right.
chance to make mistakes. You are giving him the chance to listen to the note endlessly, to know how the donut sounds, how the re sounds, how the mi and the fa and the sol. So it comes a time when the child says, it was a donut, and he's looking at your eyes, and you say, oh dear, this is really ear training, right? It's not just make the difference between C and E, or a fifth, or a third, or a seventh. No, it's he knows that the donut sounds like a C. So and the child is sitting on the piano. Maybe you can't have his attention for 20 minutes, but 20 minutes is a lifetime in a
Right.
3-year-old. So
That's
you
right.
better change and do something else in the meantime. But I mean, it's many parents that really are searching for not. I don't want my child to be a prodigy, but I do want my child to have attention, to discover music that, I mean, they are just amazed and think, I want this, right?
Right. So, do you think future of music education is with piano keys in every classroom, even in public schools?
I'm afraid that I need to lower my voice now, but let me tell you something. I think that the entry of the recorders in school as a music aid has been an absolute disaster. That's what I think,
I
right?
think so.
And then you say, what about having a acoustic piano in a school? And I think, how many schools have a well-tuned acoustic piano in their class? And there's one school, great. Now, what do you do with that piano? Imagine if that piano could be a very small piano, much cheaper, that you could just travel with that piano from one class to the other, and you can connect that to one computer, and all the children in the class can learn to read, to sing, solfeggio, and to play at some other time. I would change that immediately.
Yes, me too. We need to work on that and convince other our governments and public education sectors, because yes, the piano key is practically notes, grand stuff, and grand stuff is the piano key. So it's this one unit. Victoria,
That's
a lot
right.
of piano teachers asked me a question, and I will translate for Russian-speaking community. What it takes to build a piano lab? Is it hard or not hard?
I think it's with the same as with the rest of your life. Uh, Start with one, two, make the difference. Are we talking financially? Are we talking about space?
Financially,
Okay,
our
financially, I would say uh, children from 3 to 6 that are starting, they can get a lot of benefit from the really from the small pianos with very how do you say that, with light key weight,
light keys.
and that's good for almost everyone when they are starting. Eventually, you will find that you need a 88 piano keyboard, and eventually you will need the pedal, and eventually when they are playing with some Mozart, you can tell them about phrasing, because you can, of course you can. That's the teacher that makes the difference. But I mean, it's. I don't think there's another way to go.
May I ask you, as a pianist, tell me,
Yeah.
you have many students who started with soft Mozart and light key. Did it affect their hand position and piano technique in the future, that they started with the keyboard?
I, I I have the name of one of my best students now. She's 15 years old. Now she's playing the most subtle and legatissimo and pianissimo Chopin ever, and using pedals wonderfully. And she started learning how to read music and to find the keys and to find the fingering with soft Mozart. And it it moves. I mean, children just take you by their hands. You know when you can move to the next step. And even now, uh, when I tell her, please sight read, she she can use some Mozart. So, and I think that's another part of the obligation of the teachers, that now that you have that converter, we can convert many pieces that can be used with for many levels, different levels, maybe Bach chorales, right, for sight reading, and that you can put in the system so that they can sight read. So the answer is absolutely yes. There is nothing that I have found that I had to say, forget about what you were taught before, because now we are talking about something else. No, it's the same road. Uh, just the car changes, and that's all.
Victoria, do you think any piano teacher can just take the program and start teaching you this, or training needed to incorporate in this method?
I hope they need training, because I remember myself in your house when I went to Houston, and I was going through everything from the beginning to the end. Remember? And I said, please, no more. Let me get to level 4, and then just play. And you said, no, you have to go to the end of each of them. And I remember my head, I was like this with the remember, with the stuffs like this, and I said, I feel like a dog reading the music and trying to find my way. So I think the best way to help a student is to go through what your student will have to do with you. I mean,
Yes,
you have
so
to prepare yourself,
you would recommend training.
of course,
Yes,
of course.
I think this is the best way to do, to avoid a lot of problems, because without training we start using this tool in old-fashioned way, and sometimes we are just wasting a lot of time before we get to the right way.
For sure, for
All
sure.
right. Thank you so much for your interesting story. I hope to see you again next Sunday.
Bye bye,
Viva
Helen.
la
Bye bye, everyone.
música! Viva la música! Viva Soft
Viva la
Mozart!
música, viva la música. Bye bye. Bye bye.